Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the show, episode 408 of the Council on Future Conflicts. My name is Scott. I am the proprietor of the Future Conflict today. Today, we're talking about basically the struggle session that Kamala is putting America through, and with friends like these, who needs enemies. We'll be talking a little more about Iran and Israel and some of the stuff going on there. The main topic today is really just a big potpourri of just absurdity that is the domestic political morass, if you will. We've got a couple pretty good odds and ends to start off with, but guys, here's my problem is, I want to we're a little on the late side today, and in fairness, I literally woke up at like 10 till the hour from a nap that I didn't expect to take. And so I was a little on the groggy side. I'm hoping that, yes, Watcher has probably got the show already wrangled into position, and only to find that we had nothing. And I've only
Watcher's
had
on the
half.
other side of the Watcher's on the other side of the state.
I have no idea where he is. He has not told me anything. I just know that he has a pathological obsession with not getting a CVT transmission in the next vehicle that he gets. That's about all I
Correctly.
know from his.
Absolutely correct.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, that doesn't have much to do with this show. So, but I know that's clearly articulated in his X traffic today. So, struggle on against that CVT. But that being said, Joe, when I popped in here and you popped in literally a minute or two after I did, and you were probably thinking the same thing, that like me and Watcher had the show already and you're just going to be able to slide right in and Bob's your uncle. But I was like, oh, I don't even know if I want to do the show today. And I was moping and whatnot. So CVT. So anyway, Joe, you picked up my spirits right away, and we got people like regulars like Stormy and your Arctic Boy and Limey, Peter Shade's Helicopter Tours, guys like you, the people that are in the chat right now, being absolute just all stars. I was like, I couldn't let these guys down. We got a show to do. There's a lot of stuff going on now. I said this morass of domestic stuff, right? And the reason why I say that is because, Joe, by the way, welcome to the show. I know you got a pod sitting that was just dropped off in your driveway literally seconds before the show began.
Seconds before the show began, and it's ridiculously smaller than I had hoped for. So we're going to readjust what the plan is. So
Durna, we forgot how old Scott is because of his quiet filter. I mean, let's be honest. There's some truth telling in some of those pictures and shots from Montana, because it's like, when you see just this right here, and I don't show my hair off, and if I don't have the glasses on or whatever, you think I'm younger than I really am, but I'm old as shit, man. Not as old as Joe, but almost. I just,
there has to be a bayonet.
There is going to be a bayonet. There's going to be a bayonet airmailed to Korea this morning.
All right, Sniper, you're like
my promise to not roll my eyes at anyone in the that I made in the private chat is now null and void.
yes. All right. Anyway, yeah, the reason why I said a domestic morass is because I'll be honest with you, I hate paying attention to any kind of hype machine political news that masquerades as news. Because here's the thing, like I get my political news information from my wife over breakfast, and she gets it through the Korean news. And the Korean news gets it from, of course, CNN and MSNBC. right? So it's like filtered at 3 levels of distortion by the time I hear it. So she says, "Oh, it sounds like it's a runaway victory now at this point for Kamala because the polls all have her in the lead and everything like that." And so I have to touch a little political grass here. So I go to the X account of Rasmussen Reports, and then I see all of a sudden, oh yeah, wait a second, those polls are absolutely bogus. Yeah, there are polls that still show Donald Trump up a couple points in many different situations. So I try not to get involved in all the domestic political stuff, but we will be wading into that shitstorm today. Got other things to talk about too. Sniper, how are you doing this morning?
Yeah, a little spiky and a little spicy because I had to deal with internet issues this morning. Because let's IP block the computer that we use for inventory. But other than that, well and good. And upset to hear what Joe just said, and hoping I can find a way to help him out with that later.
No, it'll be perfectly fine. We adapt, improvise, and overcome here. So
yeah, well, I mean, very very Marine of you to throw that out there. Was that like a Marine thing before Gunny Highway told the world about that, or was that always a Marine thing?
Before Gunny Highway told the world.
All right, just making sure. That's where I heard it first. I mean, you got to admit, if you're gonna get Marine information from a source, Gunny Highway is not a bad place to get it from.
Pretty sure Gunny Highway was based on a few real people that I've met.
Well, yeah, I understand that whole story about phoning long distance with a phone card from Grenada.
That actually happened.
Absolutely, yeah, it had actually happened, right? So,
yeah.
That's what was the kind of cool thing about that movie. There was a lot of reality to it.
Mm-hmm.
So Don helped us, in our DM chat, kind of fed us some ideas on stuff with these domestic politics. And God bless Don. He's way more kind of into what's going on than I am. And so, I mean, just to kind of give you a list of things I'm working off of, literally pulling links as we do the show, folks. But we're talking about all the Kamala headquarters account is basically redredging up the fine white people, or those fine people or whatever lies that have been debunked 7 years ago, and so now we're dealing with those again. Let's see. White people seasoning their food is now part of the presidential election campaign. Shocking. Let's see what else. Oh yeah. I mean, so Joe, guys, you've heard about this? Trump is supposedly now gonna get sentenced mid-September now, right? And they're saying he's going to go down hard for a year in prison.
Well, I don't know that that's going to work. There are sentencing guidelines. He doesn't meet them to actually be in prison, so they need to rethink all that. But
but Canada
that would certainly up the domestic conflict 100%. But before we move on from that, I have a future conflict question, and it's for one particular person out there. It's for Mrs. Dawn, and I know you watch, so I need to know this. Scott and I are very concerned. So, has Dawn stopped wearing a shirt at home? If he has, please let us know. Please let us know.
Yeah, that is definitely one of those if you know kind of situations.
Well, I mean, in the world of Scott should probably watch Don's show this morning. He was wearing a shirt for that.
Well, that's a show. That's not. There's a lot more to this story than that.
Yeah, I know.
And if he is wearing a shirt, is said shirt olive green?
Nice.
Anyway.
Yes.
So we've got
we've got a lot. Oh, Jesus. I'm now reading about Kamala's economic agenda. Jesus, it gets even better. Yeah, this one gets to the thumbnail. I don't know if you guys saw the thumbnail. I guess I could share it here real quick. It's I feel like I'm not going too over the line with this one. You guys tell me though. Let me know if I'm in the ballpark with where we should be with our depictions of our glorious leader, glorious future leader, Kamala Harris here. I think we're right about right. She's got her little Miles Red book, and her, I think this is about right. Don't you guys think?
Go back and watch listen to last night's Sons of Liberty. We went into exquisite detail on how likely it is that Walls is a Chinese asset, and this makes a lot more sense when you actually analyze that. So,
yeah, well, I mean, so just we'll go. We're not into the domestic stuff yet, but we will get in. We'll get there soon, and a lot of that has to do with what she's proposing, and it ain't good, folks. It ain't good. All right, gents, let's jump into our first odds and end here, which is, this is much more kind of martial and conflict oriented. That stuff that we actually like to talk about on this show. Let's see, it even has some sexy planes on the news article, so there's never a bad thing when you can get F-22s on the deal. U.S. Air Force F-22 jets visit strategic air bases in South China Sea. I mean, for reasons, I guess.
I have a question though.
Mm-hmm.
What's the vetting that you suppose the Sultan of Brunei's armed forces do on their soldiers and airmen to ensure that they are not taking photographs and photocopying documents and sending them right on to the Chinese?
Oh, I just assume that the Chinese, have all this stuff penetrated. I mean, let's be honest, Joe. These are airplanes that they had the plans for, 15 years ago.
That doesn't make it okay.
I know. I'm more worried about the kind of the OPSEC kind of stuff, like what they're going to be doing, the timing and things like that. But yes, you're not wrong there. The stealthy U.S. Stormy is a new member. Look at that. I thought she was already a member. I guess not. The stealthy U.S. Air Force F-22 Raptors visited Indonesia, Brunei, and the Philippines from August 6th to 10th, following the end of air combat exercise Pitch Black in Australia on August 2nd. They also stopped for dynamic force employment operations on their way back to Kadena Air Base in Japan. The tour of the F-22s comes as regional tensions remain high because of maritime disputes between China and the Philippines, a U.S. security ally in the region. Aircraft and vessels from both sides have had close encounters multiple times, while the U.S. conducted air exercises to showcase its support for Manila. The F-22, let's see, we don't need to get into that. The Raptors have toured across U.S. allies in the South China Sea, are assigned to Joint Base Langley Eustis in Virginia. In April, they were forward deployed to Kadena in Okinawa to maintain a steady state fighter presence in the Indo-Pacific region. Joe, I mean, it would actually make sense for them to forward deploy, F-22s in the, Pacific region. I mean, that seems like an asset that would actually make sense to be based out of, someplace like Japan or something along those lines.
The article seemed to imply that there are no other fighters based at Kadena, and I know there's a Marine Air Wing there. So.
Oh, there's a ton of there's both Air Force and Marine fighters. That's a huge Marine base, actually. And you've got Iwakuni out there, and you got a couple others. So yeah, there's a lot of air power permanently stationed, but it's mostly FA-18s and F-16s and F-15s. So
perfectly capable fighters on their own.
Absolutely. And then never discount the very capable Japanese Air Force, Air Self-Defense Force, as they
I was
like
going to
to
say the
call it.
Japanese Air Self-Defense Force.
That's right. Yeah, so this is interesting. This is absolutely what you would call a flexible deterrent option of a strategic asset. We see this.
Let me address everyone here saying War Thunder already, guys. War Thunder gave specs and things. I'm talking about the rotation time on the ground, how quickly they can refuel,
right?
All the things that the air crew are able to report on that the Chinese didn't necessarily have. There's more to this than just the specs, okay?
Yeah, the OPSEC stuff, right? Yeah, absolutely right. Deployment timelines. What is the overhead for the crews? They're on the ground, all that kind of stuff. So these are the kind of things that we don't like to see the Chinese get, even though they probably will. So, just kind of looking at this in a kind of a broader South China Sea sense. I mean, here lately, with all the kind of, oh my gosh, Russia's getting ready to be completely invaded. The Ukrainian infantry, panzer divisions are marching towards Moscow, and any minute now, Iran's gonna destroy Israel. We've kind of, for the last couple of weeks, forgot about the ongoing simmering,
as China would love us to do.
South China Sea. Exactly right. Exactly right. Yes, Josh, we know yours is a joke, but still, a lot of people kind of take that stuff a little more seriously. So we like to tamp it down whenever we can. All right. Anything else that you've noticed in the recent weeks in and around South China Sea, Joe or Sean? Either
that the agreement that never was between China and the Philippines has actually not materialized into much of anything. Right. They still continue to maneuver and continue to butt heads and continue to say, no, it's my island. So I think that the status quo is going on, and I think that China is perfectly content to let everybody else focus on the second battle of the Kursk Bulge as much as they want. So.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of which, did you catch that 30-minute kind of color commentary that those German generals were giving?
I keep saying that on television there are no original ideas. It's just remakes. And this was literally just a remake of an old classic, the Battle of the Kursk Bulge. But hey, whatever.
Yeah, well, if it's a good idea, it's worth doing twice, right? And so
somebody posted that article back to me and said, "Hey, did you notice that the Ukrainians wear steel gray uniforms too as their dress uniform?" I said, maybe it's because Ukrainians, for some reason, like the old school German uniforms. If only there was a reason that it could be, right?
It's almost like they have some sort of proclivity
some sort of admiration.
Erica plays.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. Even there are some Americans from time to time that like a little, what is it?
Who doesn't like them some good Hugo Boss?
Wacht Panzer, music. Well, I play. What was it I played? It wasn't Erica. It was the what's the song from the Battle of the Bulge movie where they start singing it? Like they start singing it.
It's the Battle of the Bulge movie. It's from what was the name of that movie?
No, it was the Battle of the Bulge.
Oh, was it? Yeah, I don't know. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the German tanker song deal. Yeah,
right. I like I said, I think it's called like Panzer. I can't remember. Tanker. I gotta find out what it is.
Lead. It's
there we Panzerleid. Yeah. It's this one. let's see, watch on YouTube. Let's do that. I mean, why not? Let's. We haven't had anything controversial in a while on the channel. Might as well do this. I mean, because this is exactly what they are singing right now in, in. You gotta be kidding me. This is what they're singing in in Ukraine. In Ukraine right now. All right. Are we going to? I guess we're not. I guess my YouTube is like literally not giving me the video. Like, oh, there we go. It's finally happening. Here we go.
Better VPN time?
No, I turned the VPN off like when I first connected. So here we go. It's finally here. Yes, this is literally the soundtrack for what's going on right now. This is that 36 armor battalion with the Challenger tanks and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Now, let's be honest. This is a pretty cool song as military songs go, but there is a fetishization of just German stuff in the Ukrainian military culture. You can't deny that there isn't.
No, there absolutely is. And what I think is funny is everyone's like, oh, but it's going to be so good. But you're literally using German tanks in a battle that the Germans lost in a big, big way. It makes no sense to cross at literally the same point. I don't get it. Never in history has an invasion of Russia proper gone well for anyone. At best, you get a negotiated settlement out of it. That didn't last very long either for when that happened. But it's crazy.
Well, and then I'm not going to even attempt to try to find this, but I saw on X the other day a picture of like German SS helmets that were kind of sat on the ground. Like this would have been pictures of soldiers took right before the Kursk offensive. And then right next to it was a picture of a modern, side cut, soft helmet with a Velcro SS runes on the side of the helmet. They were just literally put right next to each other without comment. I was just like, all right, that seems about right.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I mean,
that there was a comedian once ago that pointed out that Hitler never played Risk, and apparently Zelensky didn't either.
Yeah, right. Well, this has gone from. I guess this is as good a thing to talk about in odds and ends as any, because we're not going to do a segment on it today. Actually, real quick, Peter Shade's helicopter tours for $5 over in the Rumble chat says trivia: Harvard grad Ernst Franz created the Massachusetts State Police uniforms in the 1930s. He then went to Germany, based the SF ones off the MSP uniforms. Franz then founded the Hitler Youth. Interesting. I was not aware of that. I get the feeling that there have been some staggering, just kind of gains that the Ukrainians have made. You can't deny it. I mean, they are absolutely wrecking house, but they're wrecking house against the rear area, right? And they're starting to be stopped. And then the entire time, the Russians haven't taken any of their main forces off of the Donbass fronts and are just gobbling up giant pieces of.
I was going to say, I would imagine though, as you say that they're wrecking house. If you went with a net square footage of land seized versus land lost over this time period, and I don't think Ukraine has a net gain.
I agree with you. I agree. So, I mean, the problem is that they're making all these gains in and around Kursk, but there is no advantage outside of now. So, like I said this in my X post earlier today, I said, now, if you could somehow destabilize Russia and get the people to rise up against Putin, then okay, great. Then it would be worth it. But I said there's a near zero chance of that happening.
An invasion of Russia is not the way to make that happen. You have to understand the way that the average Russian thinks, and setting foot on Russian soil is a surefire way to extend the war rather than bring it to a quicker closure. And it's just it's pretty interesting. As someone pointed out, I think it was one of the State Department briefers yesterday said, listen, we're all about allowing Ukraine to recapture seized territory, but that does not include seizing new territory of their own. That's actually, I was actually surprised to hear an actual State Department briefer say that. So.
I just want to say that when you have a vocabulary like mine does, you can't not use words like fetishization from time to time just to kind of throw people on the back foot. So just saying. All right. Oh, Jesus Christ. Can I give you guys the most non sequitur thing ever during one of our shows? This will be the largest. Either way,
so might as well.
This just came across my feed.
Bro, it's a mistake.
Mistakes were made.
If this doesn't tell you that AI needs to be stopped at all costs, I don't know what to tell you.
This is too good for AI. I don't know. No, it is AI. You can tell by this part right down here on the can, because like this Dr. Pepper is, and then this right here. This is definitely AI. Ugh. I just puked a little. So Stormy, yeah, you and me both, sister.
No, that actually looks like an actual bottle of vomit. So, can we get it off the screen now?
I mean, if I have this, I'm going to file that under. If I have to see it, you have to see it. Type of. All right, let's take that.
And of course, Heathen King is the one who shared it. Listen, you went from buttery grits to that text message conversation you had with Demp last night, bro. Suspect. Anyway.
He's always good for those kind of random ass posts that just kind of derail your entire morning. All right, speaking of derailing an entire morning or month
or Scott
year,
you know what, we were talking about Ukraine, and I would be remiss if I didn't point out the absolute trolling level of the German BKA. I talked about this last night on the show. When the BKA issued their warrant for an unknown Ukrainian diver, they put the name Volodymyr Z on the warrant. Do we know anybody in Ukraine whose name is Volodymyr, whose initial is Z? It's pretty interesting. That's just the absolute best troll ever by the BKA, and well done.
Yes, indeed.
If we're still in Ukraine, though, did you see that? Did you see that video I dropped in the chat? I think it was yesterday.
I'll be honest. No.
Refresh our memory. So what was in it?
Russian headbutts suicide drone, and then
yeah. I've seen that several different places. Yeah, that's just, there's been some crazy shit pop up with this, look at this. Stormy, member for 23 months, says, speaking of vocabulary, Sean from Potentially Criminal used the words tamponic screaming yesterday. It was glorious.
You know what? The best vocabulary expansion so far this month came from Matt Bracken the other night on the roundtable with me and Etsy Scout, when he called Crooks, the Trump would-be assassin, the Aspergerite Jason Bourne, and that is literally the best thing ever, and it is now in my vocabulary.
Aspergerite Jason Bourne, yeah, that's a good one. This is nowhere near Aspergerite Jason Bourne, but it is infuriating. UK set to adapt blasphemy law to protect Muslims. Britain's far-left government under Prime Minister Keir Starmer is preparing to introduce a blasphemy law that would criminalize criticism of Islam following the civil unrest sparked by uncontrolled illegal immigration and Islamicization of the United Kingdom. The national.
Point. I'm sorry, I have to say it because
Go ahead.
Grok, the Grok AI. If you tell it
Yeah.
to draw you pictures of Jesus doing various things, including one famous one the other day that said Jesus in a bikini, it will draw it for you. But if you ask it in any way, shape, or form to draw Muhammad, it will not, and it will tell you it will not.
Let's see. I absolutely believe that is a thing. Let's show up Grok live here on stream.
No, I know it's a thing. I watched it happen. I mean, it's ridiculous. So what they're creating is one approved religion in the world. It's the only religion you can't criticize publicly. And let me guess, before someone throws out the word Islamophobia, say a phobia is what's the word I'm looking for? Is an unjustified fear. You should totally have a fear of Muslims blowing up around you. That's not an unbased fear.
How do you spell Muhammad?
Another M and an ED. There you go.
There you go. Yeah. Draw a picture of the Prophet Muhammad. I'm not asking for anything crazy. I just want a picture of him. Here's the thing.
It's telling you all the reasons why it cannot.
Now, if I were to draw him, in the spirit of not causing a cosmic kerfuffle, let's stick to word symbols. So, draw a picture of Jesus. I mean, that's at least he drew a base Jesus, you know. It didn't. What's this symbol here? This is some sort of like, you know, anyway. Yes, interesting. Talking about why he can't do it here and just doing it here. So you saw it live here on the channel. Yes. Anyway, National Secular Society warned Tuesday that adopting a Islamophobia definition will inflame rather than dispel community tensions and division and undermine the right of those oppressed by fundamentalist religion to speak out, including women, LGBT people, and those who hold different religion beliefs. The NSS letter to Angela Rayner is Deputy Prime Minister and Secretary of State for Communities and Local Governments also warned that adapting the definition would increase pressure on the government to adopt the religion phobia definition, to which they responded saying, "We don't care. Our people aren't armed. What are they going to do?"
Exactly right. Exactly right. This is what happens when you have a disarmed populace who knows that they are subjects. You're a subject of the crown, and that is it.
Ammo is currency for $5 over Rumble said. It's not. It's Islamophobia. Muslims are known to have a short fuse. Now, when you say people we paint with a broad brush that these groups of people are this way, you got to be careful what you say. But that seems to be a fairly accurate description of, I mean, the very bomb-happy radical political Islamists that tend to blow people up when they aren't happy, or shoot random people as well. Let's see. Secularists are raising the alarm with the likelihood of a blasphemy law to protect Islam after spokesperson from the Prime Minister's office confirmed that the government was looking closely at the issue of creating a specific definition of Islamophobia and is engaging with stakeholders on the issue. The spokesman noted that the current government's election manifesto had given a commitment to engage with stakeholders and strengthen protections by closely monitoring Islamophobic hate. There is work going on that, and we will provide an update in due course, he added, while refusing to confirm or deny whether the government was working on legislation to criminalize criticism of Islam.
So how do you define offensive speech? what actually makes speech offensive?
I mean,
It's all in the ear
Yeah.
of the holder, of the hearer, right? So I could be offended by something that you didn't mean to offend me by, and now all of a sudden it's a criminal offense. That's not a way to do business. For example, I can't remember the airlines yesterday, but Mrs. Tactical Wisdom read me a story about a guy who went to get on a flight, and him and his whole family were wearing Trump shirts. And the flight attendant at the counter came up to them and said, "Hey, one of our staff is uncomfortable with your shirts, so you need to change them." And they said, "Well, we're not going to." And they were going to deny them boarding because someone would feel uncomfortable because they're wearing a Trump shirt. What I would have done,
make anybody uncomfortable.
yeah, I would have told them that their uniforms make me uncomfortable, so they should change their uniforms. And when they refuse, say, "Okay, well, I guess I'm not going to either."
Then
Simple,
then comfort stops being the kind of the point at which that you can complain about something.
Well, what happens when you're uncomfortable? I'm going to be uncomfortable the whole flight in your stupid seats. So I guess we're all going to be uncomfortable then, right?
Right.
There's no legal requirement for me to make you feel comfortable. It's crazy. But we're headed that way, right?
Yeah. The United Kingdom is absolutely, and here's the crazy thing, right? It's not like you've got these, Sharia court people running, amok and nobody's doing a thing about it. This is absolutely the UK police who look a lot, shockingly, Joe, they like you and me, and then a frumpy chick named Pat, right? That's what you generally get. You get two older white guys and then Pat, right? And Pat is basically the mouthpiece, and the other two guys are actually kind of bend the arms back and arrest the guy when he's making people uncomfortable in the streets. I was in kind of looking at this tweet here. I was looking at some of the responses, and there's a lot of kind of videos of people getting basically like street preachers and other people who are just expressing their opinions in the street, getting rolled up and then detained. We saw that 61-year-old guy get thrown into prison for saying something like fuck Islam or something along these lines, which okay, it's, even if that is offensive, it's absolutely protected.
For a Muslim saying fuck Christianity and whatever, and that's perfectly okay.
And that's just it, Joe. This is the difference between people like you and me and people like them, is that we would actually protest for their right to say that shit if anybody tried to stifle that speech in America. But that's just not the case here. It is just a decidedly authoritarian stance, and an illiberal, un-Western stance that's going on.
And by the way, British government, if you watch this, come at me, bro.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I couldn't have asked for a better transition. I mean, it's probably one of the best of transitions of all, especially timing wise. I mean, literally, it's the second old. It's the most recent thing here. Stormy asks, "Are you guys going to talk about the Secret Service agent that left her post to breastfeed her child?"
To the Stormy show, all Stormy, all the time.
Well, the funny thing is she's like reading my notes here, because the absolute next thing we're going to talk about is. I don't have Watcher to share stuff for me. It's this. So let's play this.
Service detail that's guarding former President Donald Trump. So this coming from Real Clear Politics, reporting that a female Secret Service agent abandoned her post in North Carolina to breastfeed her baby during Trump's visit yesterday to the Tar Heel state. The report says about 5 minutes before Trump's motorcade arrived, the site agent who manages security for the entire event did a final sweep of the location.
And while walking the route, the site agent reportedly found the Secret Service special agent in question breastfeeding with two other family members present in a room that's supposed to be set aside for official business, like an emergency involving the president. The report says the special agent did not have permission to leave her post and gave no warning prior to the event that she needed personal time. Working Secret Service agents are prohibited from bringing children or any family members, for that matter, on a protective assignment.
All right, still working on clarification and details on this. That coming.
I mean,
If
come
you're
on, bro.
breastfeeding, you should be on maternity leave, especially in that role. And ladies, don't get mad at me when I say that. I'm not saying in every job, but in that job, there's no reason for you to be out working an engagement in which there might be bullets flying through the air with a baby. That's just absolutely ridiculous. Were those two family members cleared by the advance team? Did they have the records checks required? Did they have all the stuff done in order to be inside the perimeter? I'm going to
Right.
guess not.
Yeah.
And it's just, this is absolutely ludicrous given the fact that literally a month ago, someone tried to kill this man.
Real quick, kind of going back to our last story here, I want to get this in here because this is absolutely correct. The Magna Carta is literally the foundational document for redress of grievance by the people. And, you know, just to see that kind of betrayal of that public covenant is pretty heinous. Welcome, watcher. I'm glad you could make it this morning.
Sorry, man.
All right. We have a grumbly.
Yeah. Sorry, man. I no excuse, but I moved all my alarm clocks yesterday so that I could get up to go do all the driving stuff I needed to do, and then went to bed this morning confident that I had moved them all back, and had not, in fact, moved them all back.
You are really hot right now. Hot mic. Okay. All right. Well, hey, you know, it is what it is. No big deal. Stormy, Stormy is now taking over legitimately here with a $10 super chat. In that role, women should have mandatory psyche evals after each pregnancy to determine if they are capable of resuming their roles. I'm just saying. I mean, maybe they should have them every month.
I will say, downwind of all the different federal laws to allow for breastfeeding timeouts and things like that, we should not be surprised at all that this happened.
I guarantee you that it says
doesn't make it right.
Jobs.
Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it fair. Doesn't make it proper. But that will be the defense. Is bro, this law says I have the right to, and in the end, nothing will happen to them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably that's not wrong. It's just that, but that doesn't mean it should be that way. I kind of agree with you, Joe. I mean, ultimately, you have to look at the rules. I mean, they basically introduced people who shouldn't be there into a secure perimeter, which, I mean, just that alone is probably grounds for dismissal or at least
this person should have been in some sort of a command post role, anything but actually standing a post. This is
how guys get on roofs with AR-15s.
This is how dude slips a bomb inside the walking route, right?
And well, since we're talking about Trump's protection, we might as well mention the case of the disappearing assassin, or in this case, burnt up assassin.
Yeah. So the FBI has this habit now of like bulldozing crime scenes, right? Started with Waco, continued on through whatever the school was in Newtown, Sandy Hook Elementary School, and continued all the way up through Uvalde. And now when folks wanted to get a second look at Crooks's body to see if the autopsy report was accurate, even the coroner was not aware that the body was gone. The body was released for cremation, and the body has vanished. So even when the now 7 days late autopsy report comes out, you can't verify it because there's no body to match any of it to in order to confirm that it's real. And someone said, well, there'll be photos and stuff. Yeah, but there's nothing to compare those photos to. How do you know those photos are from that autopsy? So it's a little bit silly, a little bit odd. You certainly have to ask the question, why were we in such a hurry to burn this body up? Burial's one thing, right? I could see maybe releasing it for burial to the family, but for cremation?
Yeah, I mean, you're essentially destroying. destroying the evidence and then giving nobody else the opportunity to have an
And
independent
saying, oh, it's the
analysis.
family's wishes, but this is an internationally significant event. You tell them it's going to be another couple days. We have to at least wait until the autopsy report comes out and give someone the opportunity to challenge it.
No, and let's not let them hide behind that either, because let's be honest, they've like prevented families from legitimately being able to bury their loved ones for up to years at a time, using the excuse that, oh, well, it's part of an active investigation, or could be part of an active investigation. This was deliberate. Of course it was deliberate, but like the shockingly short amount of time that they turned around in order to tell you it was deliberate should tell you something about where we're at.
I mean, you're not wrong. Anything else on that, guys?
No, just hey, if you were on the fence about whether or not the government was involved, that should certainly push you over it. And as the shirt says, you're already in the collapse. So,
yeah, absolutely. All right, Joe, you want to talk a little bit about being in the collapse already, and tactical-wisdom.com and all other things?
Sure. Some guy, some prepper YouTuber did a video on my books, and it's really helped. So if you want to learn a little bit about how to be a little more prepared, a little more ready, check out the Tactical Wisdom series. We go from book 1, where we teach you the very, very basic skills and gear that you need. Newsflash, I'm not a gear guy, despite this gear room full of gear. I'm more of a skills guy. So the books will take you from that up to some more advanced field craft and defensive skills, and maybe even a few offensive ones with the security and patrolling book. And then we're going back into a new basic round with first aid is the first basic round 2 book. And the next one will be called, I'm going to put it out here. I said I wasn't going to, but I'm going to anyway. It's going to be called the Field Skills Handbook. And we're going to take some basic outdoor skills and apply them to a tactical perspective, like canoeing. Canoeing is one thing, but do you know how to canoe in a situation where there's potentially bad folks about? Do you know how to move along a river safely in a boat? Do you know how to conduct a river crossing, and all these different things? There's going to be a few more skills in there, like advanced fieldcraft in there. So it's going to be good stuff. You can find all my books on my website or on Amazon. If you want them fast, get them on Amazon. If you want them signed, get them from me. We'll send them right out. We also have T-shirts available there, including this really cool "You Are Already in the Collapse" shirt and a "Got Baofeng" shirt that we can have out there. If you are in the Michigan area tomorrow, me and Mrs. Tactical Wisdom will be at the Michigan Preparedness Picnic all day. I open the picnic with a firearms panel. Then I'll be talking about building community. And then later in the afternoon, I'm going to talk about home security and what you can do to kind of improve the security of your home just a little bit in a collapse type situation. So check all of that out. We also have a couple seats still left for next week's community security ops class down at the Brush Beater Training Center in North Carolina. So you can find that on my website. Sign up, come on out. We got kind of an intimate group of good folks coming down there, and I got some Op4 folks coming down. We're gonna have fun. Yeah, that's what it was here. Thank you. Boondockery did a video on my books, so check that out.
Nice.
But that's what I've got for Tactical Wisdom.
Joe, if I may, you have a room full of gear, because it's awful hard for somebody to say, "Hey, Joe, let me send you a little bit of this training."
Right?
Yeah.
We'll take it all, though.
Good point.
One more thing, though. Next month in September, the 14th, 15th, and 16th, there are going to be 3 classes going on at once at the Brush Beater Training Center in North Carolina. You want to be at one of them, because imagine the networking opportunity. I'm going to be running a fieldcraft class there. Mech Medic will be running a TCCC Tactical Combat Casualty Care course, and Wyoming Survival will be out doing an HF radio class. Think about all the folks who will be there to network with and build community with. So consider coming out in September. Very good.
All right. Gentlemen, we're going to get balls deep into the bowels of domestic politics and the morass that is the
Your
Mali
choice of
communist. I mean, I'm feeling a little spicy today. I mean, I'm trying to take it out in a constructive way. So I probably we're going to need to go ahead and move on over to Bongino's, our favorite Italian restaurant, where you can get all the pasta and sauces and everything directly without any kind of filtering through YouTube. So, gentlemen, let's say goodbye to the lovely folks over on YouTube. Let's go around the horn real quick. Joe, final thoughts for the YouTubers?
Be prepared for next week as we enter the DNC. If you thought 68 was bad, let's see what happens this time, right? It's going to be an interesting time.
Sean?
Why are you on YouTube? No, really, why are you on YouTube? Why aren't you at least on
YouTube?
That's not really a conversation for here, right?
Because I make more money on YouTube.
No, I'm talking to chat. Why are you on YouTube? Go to Twitter, go to Rumble, go to the places that are going to be the future of this show once YouTube is done with Scott.
Well, evidently we were. I cannot make this joke on YouTube. I'm sorry. I was going to.
Never mind. We'll do it later.
Dance on a grave. All right. And Watcher has dropped off there, so we will see him hopefully soon.
Yeah, he says he can't hear. He has to fix a hearing problem.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. I thought like a real hearing problem. Yes. Very good. All right. All right, guys. Let me drop if any of the mods. Yep, we got the Rumble link in the chat. So please head on over there, and I will leave you with this banger of a transition. Once again, Watcher hold it down for us. So we will say goodbye to YouTube and hello to Rumble.
2, 0, 1.
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I've got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone.
3, 6, 4, 6.
The chair is against the wall.
3, 6.
The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache.
8, 2, 5.
John has a long mustache.
8, 2, 5, 0, 9.
It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.